Hi, welcome back. I'm Hunter, and today I'd like to teach you how to cleanse your tarot deck. I personally use two different methods to cleanse my decks, and I use them in different ways. The first thing that I do is a smoke cleansing. Now, I use sage for my first cleanse of a deck. Like if I get a brand new deck, I'll use sage to kind of cleanse it. I feel like it kind of gives like that clean bleaching kind of effect to it. Like it creates a clean slate for me to then work with. So when I work with the deck, I kind of put my energies into it, and then it sort of becomes a little more personal to me. And then once I've sort of worked with the deck after I've saged it once, then I use my sound cleansing as like my regular maintenance kind of thing. There are tons of different ways to cleanse your tarot deck, including burying them in salt, putting them in a silk sash and burying that outside somewhere, letting them rest under the light of the full moon, or even just wiping them away with intention, shuffling them with intention, or visualizing with it. Meditation with your deck can also kind of give you that sort of understanding that you might have with it, that anything that's not yours can be returned to sender with consciousness attached. One of my other favorite ways of kind of cleansing a deck is to just reorder the cards from like 0 to 21 on the major arcana, and then reordering all of the minor arcana and court cards as well, like as if you had purchased the deck new again. Now that one's really time consuming, but if you have the time to try it. It's amazing. Kind of gives you like a factory reset, I guess you could say, on your tarot deck. With smoke cleansing, I personally recommend two different types of cleansings. Sometimes you can just use an incense and that might be okay. Personally, I use sage on my first one. You might also need rosemary as well. You can burn them together, and for me, rosemary is like sort of a gentle kind of motherly cleaning, like I'm kind of here for you, and a good energy to kind of bring into your decks. Now you can just use just rosemary, and that would be fine too. But I sort of like that clean slate feel that sage gives. And if you want to accompany that with the rosemary, you might even have like a good energy kind of inset with your cleansing. When people use crystals to cleanse their tarot decks, typically I see two kinds. Now, I'm not really a crystal person myself. I do have a few. Clear quartz is used quite commonly from what I've seen, as well as selenite. Now, I do have a selenite coaster that I keep my favorite bell on, and I'll get to my bells here in a minute. But I like to put that on my selenite coaster because it kind of keeps the bell clean for me, or energetically clean, I should say. And then I think it kind of keeps that cleansing very, very nice when it comes to my decks. Something else to note is how often you should cleanse your tarot deck. And really, it's sort of up to you. I personally will cleanse my tarot deck after someone else has physically handled my cards, because then it's sort of, for me, has their energy worked into it. And if I can kind of clear that away right after they're done with my cards, then I feel it's fit for another use. Not every time I read for someone do they actually touch the cards. In that case, I don't normally do it. But I also try and cleanse like after each session as well. So if I read for multiple people, I will cleanse sort of in between, and then once right at the end. Really, it's kind of however you feel. It might take a little bit of time to gauge where that's at, whether or not they just kind of feel like they need it, or if your divinations aren't particularly on point anymore, that might be a time to figure out that, hey, it might be time for me to give this a little cleaning real quick. I'll get into some demonstrations on how I cleanse my decks. Okay, so today I have 3 different tarot decks to sage. So I use it for my first time after receiving a deck. I've actually kind of looked through these a few times, but I've never actually cleansed them, so I haven't really done any real work with it. So let's go ahead and do a smoke cleansing, I think. Okay, so we've got our sage smoking, and I'm just going to take the deck and rest it above the sage and just kind of get that smoke all up in there. There we go. Just kind of let it hit the cards and kind of get that smoke everywhere. Now, I also like to take the box for it as well and just let the box kind of grab some of that smoke inside around the outsides. That way, you know, when I go to put it back in, it doesn't have any residual energies from people that, you know, interacted with it during shipping or whatnot. I'm actually going to pull this one out too. This is my Toth deck. There we go. So kind of, again, just let that smoke rise up all around your cards. On the bottom, on the front, on the back, kind of everywhere. And then I'm going to grab that box too, kind of get some smoke up in there. And then kind of around my box. So I'm good there. And then here's my Akashic Tarot deck. This one's brand new to me. I have not touched this one before. So just kind of getting that smoke everywhere. And then this box came in 2 parts, so we're going to get the front part and the back part. And you might be thinking, oh, how much do you need? How much smoke? That's up to you. Just feel it out. I think that one's pretty good. This one I sort of want to kind of get a little more. I'm going to be using this one a lot, so I want to make sure it's very clear. And what I mean when I say a bleaching effect, I mean it takes not only the bad energies out of it, but the good energies as well. So you really are working with blank slates when you work with sage. Anyway, that's the smoke cleansing done on my 3 new decks. So I'll get back to you with a sound cleansing, and yeah. All right, and now I am back with my Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So I personally prefer a sound cleanse, and when I do a sound cleanse, these are all the bells that I have, and I use them kind of differently. My favorite one is this little guy right here. Now, what I look for when I choose a bell, and this is a personal preference of mine, but I like to have the ringing sound very like long lasting after you kind of shake it. I find that like porcelain bells, when you shake them, they stop sounding immediately when it stops hitting the sides. These ones kind of last a little longer, and I think that just sort of gives me a little bit of a clearer or a cleaner clean. So this is the one that I normally keep on my little selenite coaster, but I'll show you how I do this. I just take my deck, and I start off on the right hand side, but this is just a personal preference of mine. So I will go and ring over here, and then I will take it over to the other side and ring over here, and then to the front, and then to the back, and then above it, and then below it. And then I just kind of let the bell fade away, you know, kind of over time, and then I'll set it back down. And then I'm good. I've cleansed this on all sides, and my deck feels ready for use again. Now, the way that I chose my bells is specifically just sounds that I find pleasing to me. These 2 were made of glass. This one here is leaded crystal, and this one here is brass. So this one here kind of has a similar quality to that one. It's a little, it's not quite as loud, but it still has that kind of long-lasting sound that I sort of like. Kind of give it a couple. Yeah. The leaded crystal one. It's very loud, and it sounds like it lasts a very long time, so I like that one for kind of like a little heavier duty thing. This one is the loudest one. This one I use for, like, you know, that big scrub down if I kind of need it. So that's my loudest of the bells, but this is the heavy duty cleaner. This is like the everyday, like, you know, like a dusting, a wipe down, a deep clean, and then pulling out the big guns here. I guess at this point too, I could point out that you know, when you were if you wanted to just, you know, use your intention, you could just, you know, rest your hand on top, whatever you do, or you can simply wipe it clean with intention. Just however works better for you. Try them all out. You know, give sound a try, give intention a try, visualization a try. You know, put it in the box, put it in some salt, see if that works for you, see if that tickles your fancy. Maybe you like to smoke cleanse it every single time. Whatever is your practice is your practice, and I can't tell you how to do that right or wrong. That's up for you to experiment with and see what works for you. So anyway, on that note, I'd just like to say thank you very much for kind of watching this, and I hope that you've taken some insights on how to cleanse your decks for yourself, and take that as some inspiration. Get those decks clean, and good luck.